Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about Louisiana and the Associated Press and law enforcement and a story that began way back in May of 2019. A story that appears to be entering its final chapter finally. So, back in May of 2021, the Associated Press had some investigative reporting going on, and it appeared to expose a cover-up within law enforcement in Louisiana, and there was some footage of the death of Ronald Greene. Now, his death occurred back in May of 2019, and if I'm not mistaken, his family was initially told he died in a car crash. That is not what the footage showed. The footage was brutal. It was very bad. So one of the delays that has occurred was that the federal government was looking at bringing federal charges against the officers involved. But as time went on, they became concerned that they weren't going to be able to prove the willful part that they needed to prove in court. So they kind of nodded to the state, and the state has decided to pursue charges. 5 officers have been indicted. There likely would have been a 6th, but he died in a car accident. The charges range from negligent homicide to malfeasance in office. It's pretty wide-ranging. The footage was so bad that even the state police's own use of force instructor, a position that you will often find defending officers in court, had nothing positive to say and categorized it in a way that, honestly, can only lead to charges. Now, the Associated Press, and this is going to be overlooked because it's the way the news works, it is unlikely that these proceedings would be happening, that these charges would have been filed if it weren't for the journalists at the Associated Press really pursuing this story. I truly believe that without those journalists, there would not be justice in this case. It is worth noting that at this point, now that things have progressed, despite any allegations of cover-up early on, the thin blue line in Louisiana, it has cracked. It has definitely cracked. The head of the state police there said, "These actions are inexcusable and have no place in professional public safety services." And then, of course, the line that has become all too familiar to Americans about rebuilding trust with the community. That's going to be hard because the reality is that footage, it was released to the public in May of 2021. But it was around the whole time. It was body camera footage from the officers. And the actions there, the taunting that occurred, there is nobody who looked at that and was like, oh, that's normal. So everybody who saw that, who chose to remain silent about it, did so knowing that what they were witnessing was wrong. It's going to be incredibly hard to rebuild trust with a community after that. Regardless of how things proceed in court, there is no way to look at what is on that footage and say, yes, that's normal law enforcement activity, because it's not. It is so blatant that even law enforcement officials in the state who would normally be doing everything they could to downplay and deflect from the officers are outright condemning them in statements to the press. It's that bad. This will be an ongoing story. The coverage of this will be pretty widespread, especially after people start viewing the footage. The footage has been out, but because there wasn't a lot of forward movement on it, it didn't gain traction. But I personally, I will say that I viewed a lot of this footage over the years. This is easily in the top 10 as far as just the absolute worst. So, anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.